Hello, Feely Humans. Welcome to another episode of recording this podcast in my living room while Jessica, my life partner, is being a silly pants in her chair while she's working on her school, her dissertation, just stressing out about life. She's giving me the middle finger now, which is a form of love. Any hoozles, my name is Known Wells. I am the creator of this podcast, You Me Empathy. I'm also the founder of the Feely Human Collective, where we collectively grow our capacity for empathy and vulnerability and emotional curiosity. Hi. Thank you for being here. This episode is episode 239 with Hannah and Kelty, the creators of upbringing.co. Hannah and Kelty are parent activists and child advocates. They are twins. They are coaches. They are speakers behind, like I said, the upbringing movement. We talk a lot about parenting and kiddos in this episode. It's a lot of fun. I learn a lot. Hannah and Kelty are just a huge depth of wisdom. That's not the right word. Huge well of wisdom. And I loved it. I loved every moment of it. And I hope you love it too. We talk about Hannah and Kelty's codependency as twins growing up. We talk about how parenting is like improv, shifting our focus from how children are behaving to how they are feeling, and how kids are the original Feely humans. So really wonderful episode. Really appreciate Hannah and Kelty for being a part of it. Just one disclaimer. So first, the disclaimer, and then I have a content warning for you. So the disclaimer is that I am not a mental health professional. I'm not a therapist. This podcast is not a substitute for therapy or medical treatment or diagnosis. I am a silly boy. I barely know how to dress myself. So please, if you are struggling, there's a place to call, 988. There are crisis text lines. You deserve love and care and nourishment and attention, okay? And I'm grateful you're here listening to this podcast as well. The content warning is that I kind of briefly mentioned a story. I was thinking about cutting it out, but I think it's important to the episode. I briefly mentioned a story about my father doing an abuse to an animal in front of me. And there's no it's not graphic or anything, but it's a little bit shocking. And so that's the content warning. It's around the 40-minute mark. So if you want to fast forward through that a couple minutes, please do that to take care of yourself. And I'm sorry if it's too upsetting if you do listen to it and you don't hear this content warning. It came up just naturally. So that's the content warning. Any hoozles, please follow the show on Instagram at You Me Empathy and at Feely Human. Connect with Feely Human. So I have a membership community that I am launching hopefully in January, and I'm very excited about it. We're already in there testing out stuff. So if you want to learn more about that and a place to be your Feely Human self and be seen as your Feely Human self, connect with me. Sign up for the newsletter is a good way to do that. If you go to feelyhuman.co, you can do that. And please support this podcast by leaving a rating and review. It does truly help out the show. And the last thing is that the whole month of November, the entire shop at feelyhuman.co/shop is 75% off the entire month. So really cute shirts and stickers and mugs and pins. So if you want an early gift for Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, great gifts, 75% off. You just use the code ENDOFYEAR2022. It's ENDOFYEAR2022. And it's a good way to support me. I think I'm wrapping up the shop for Feely Human. I don't know if the feature will have a shop, so please check it out. Go to feelyhuman.co/shop. Check that out. 75% off the entire month of November. Okay, I am just talking way too much, so I'm very sorry about that. Let's hear from Hannah and Kelty, the wonderful Hannah and Kelty of upbringing.co. Enjoy that right now.
La 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 la. You, me, empathy, yeah. La la la.
Welcome to You, Me, Empathy, the official podcast of the Feely Human Collective. On this show, we explore the struggles, the triumphs, the brights and the darks we face as humans trying to get by on this wondrous and overwhelming pale blue dot. The intent of You, Me, Empathy is to talk openly, without judgment, about our mental health, our neuroses, our shared anxieties and worries, to create a dialogue that is vulnerable and deeply human and empathetic, and to share that dialogue with others to inspire emotional and cognitive collaboration and insight so we can, hand in hand, break down the stigma that make us feel shame and guilt for struggling, for feeling our feelings, for being feely humans. You, Me, Empathy is a brave place designed to inspire the beauty in each of us, because each of us, in all of our kaleidoscopic parts, makes up a magical whole that deserves to be seen. Today, I am doubly grateful to be here with twins, mothers, parent activists, child advocates, and founders of Upbringing. It's Hannah and Kelty. Hello.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. I don't often have two people at the same time on the show. I've never had twins on the show, so this is a first. Very exciting. Since you listen to the show, you know we start with an emotional check-in. How are you feeling? Let's start with you, Hannah.
Feeling grateful to be here. Grateful for the breeze. It was such a tender breeze on our walk this morning. So that's where I am right now, is just feeling tenderized, I think, and just happy to be sitting here.
I feel a lot better after the little intro you gave. I wish I could hear that like every morning when I wake up.
You can.
No, but like live like this, if you could just hop on Zoom and say it, that would be ideal.
Happy to do it.
I'm feeling a little bit like emotionally frazzly. Our kids' free school is doing a field trip today, and they're going to a mall to ice skate. And I think I kind of stress about one of my kids in particular being on trips in the wild, crossing streets and those things. So I'm trying to just kind of tend to my frazzly edges a little bit.
What is that kiddo like? Do they tend toward like being a little wandery or sensitive or all of the above?
Definitely not wandery, very sensitive. And yeah, so I think that if they end up feeling dysregulated, they'll sometimes would just run away. So yeah, I think the chances of that happening are probably very low. And I trust the people that they're all with immensely, but I'm still, feeling it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as you know very well, this is the work you do. It's like you honor the fact that like you're feeling that's valid, and they're safe. And you know the fact that you trust the people they're with, honor both of those things, the best you can do, right? And it's hard, right? It's hard having our kids out in the wild or our people out in the wild.
Or even our pets.
Our pets.
Sitting in the discomfort of these feelings, which come up with me too, but mostly for Kelty, has actually had the benefit of helping her understand why she feels that way a little bit, what those real fears are from, or what that real experience may be be informing, as far as like experiences with dogs 10, 15 years ago.
Runaway dogs.
Runaway dogs.
Interesting.
And how that's interestingly kind of connected to maybe runaway kids.
Oh yeah. All my stress dreams are like dogs running away, off leash kids running away. But you were reminding me of, I don't know if you know the musician Lisa Hannigan, but she has this great song called Safe Travels Don't Die. And it just like lists all of these like really hilarious, kind of interesting ways that somebody could die. It's a good song.
It sounds good. It sounds good.
How are you?
How am I? I am feeling, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. It's kind of a loaded word nowadays, and I think I overuse it. I've had a headache for 4 months, everyday headaches, and this is new for me. So I'm trying to kind of sit in that and understand and remind myself that it's not forever. That old sage of wisdom. As people who experience mental health or mental illness, as someone who has major depressive disorder, it's a skill I've learned to remind myself I am feeling this today, right? And it may not be tomorrow. So I've learned to say, okay, my headache is here today. It may not be tomorrow. It has been the last 4 months, consecutive in that way. And it may not be tomorrow. So I've been trying to kind of remind myself of those things. It's been hard. And I've had very beautiful, bright moments. I recently went backpacking up in Northern California. That was really nourishing. Got to commune with Mama Nene in some beautiful ways. Connect with Jessica on a little walk with one of our dogs and our horse last night. That was really special. So feeling good about that. Trying to find my footing again. I recently kind of got pushed out of a day job in some kind of dehumanizing circumstances that made me feel not very seen. And so trying to find my footing again. And I feel like I'm getting there, which feels good.
Sorry that happened.
Yeah. Past, present, future, all the things. So it's a big ask to get used to a headache. That's a big ask.
Yeah. I know. Do you ever experience headaches?
The few times I do, the whole headache, I'm so grateful because I don't get headaches very often. So that's what I tend to think of as like, wow, this sucks. I'm so glad I don't get these all the time.
Yeah.
I've had chronic pain issues and things like that where it's really tricky business to stay afloat during all of it. The way you tie in the idea of pain with the idea of feelings, because I don't always hold them together. There are a lot of feelings tethered to being in pain or being uncomfortable too. Trying to hold them like the weather. Yeah, I was going to say temporal, literally like temporal, just kind of stormy, come and go.
Yeah, my friend Kate Flanders says, how is the weather in your mind? Which every time I sort of think of my feelings or my pain, my physical pain, I think of that. And it's helpful, right? Because it is temporal. It is passing. It is temporary. It's wavering, it's not forever. We humans it's so human. We tend to get in a thing and then we think it's forever because it feels like forever, because it's hard or whatever. It's our comfort or it's our protection. And that's not the way the world works. As you know, you're parents. It's there's nothing that's set in stone, so to speak. Right?
We try for there not to be. But
yes. I mean, that is like, I mean, maybe that's a little bit of your ethos is like, let's disrupt this stone a bit. Right. So I do want to get into like the work you're doing now, but I am also very curious about how you two were raised. Like, what was your childhoods like?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely would identify it as us having a very similar childhood. And so we usually speak in the we about our childhoods. And little by little, we discovered that there are little eccentricities and nuances and small memories that are unique to each one of us. But I feel like pound for pound, I mean,
experienced pretty similarly.
Yeah. But our childhoods was spent early days in LA in our great aunt's garden mostly. And then we moved up to Portland, Oregon when we were how old? It must have been five-ish. And we were raised by our mom and our dad. And it was just the four of us.
Yeah. I think we think on our childhoods fondly. There's a lot of empathy there.
Yeah.
And a lot of gratitude there. Yeah. A lot of nature time.
Little codependence, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Some stuff we're teasing apart nowadays, less in the parent-child relationship, but more in our partnership relationships with our husbands. With expectations and then these twin expectations that I think were built in our childhoods. Since we spent so much time together, we kind of co-created this very and kind of safe and meshed equilibrium where we would balance each other out. Our parents were there to support us unless we were angry. And then and that kind of developed over time. And so then we, branched out and brought in new partners the last 15 and 20 years. And it's been interesting to see what stays the same with Kelty and me, with relying on each other and supporting each other. And then what areas of that we've been able to kind of parcel out to our partners, and what areas did not work offering or expecting from our partners that we had to be like, oh, back to the twin zone there.
Yeah. And connecting that all back to our childhoods has been interesting.
So fascinating. Yeah. I can see how, because childhood, whether you have loving parents, secure, safe home or not, it can be hard, right? It can be scary, whatever. It's a tough time to be a child, right? Sometimes, right? And to be a twin, right? And the expectations, right, of that societally, culturally, I'd imagine, maybe I'm projecting this, but I'm curious to hear maybe what I'm hearing you're saying is like some codependency between the two of you as protection or getting through stuff. And then as you sort of like start to grow into your own selves, you start to, come apart and tease that out a bit and explore that. What are help me understand like maybe some moments in early childhood where you would sort of like, all right, we're a team. Let's like get through this thing as a codependent twin team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, our parents left us to our own devices most of the time. So we were pretty free range kids. And so we did a lot of projects, stuff together, made books together, did all basically the stuff that we do today. We just did in our kid way as little kids. But our parents struggled sometimes to communicate transitions to us or upcoming changes. So one thing I can think of immediately was when they decided that we were going to move. And they would kind of just tell us at this random moment or in this random way, because they didn't want it to be a big deal. So they would tell us things that were a big deal in a way that weren't a big deal so that we wouldn't have a big deal about it.
Yes.
It didn't always go so well. And then the way that would happen, I mean, Kelty and I are both very sensitive people, very, very sensitive. And so I agree, knowing that our relationship has been an adaptive response to staying secure and surviving and all those things. But so what would happen, or what happened then, was Kelty would express and I would kind of repress and balance. So that was kind of our role. How would you describe it, Kel?
Yeah. I mean, another example of that is if we're kind of up in the middle of the night getting water or something and one of us heard a noise, whoever said, "What's that noise?" first, the other one had to kind of be like, "What noise? It's fine."
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Because two freaked out people, that's really scary.
Who would we depend on?
Then what would happen?
Like, even if there was a noise, the other one was like, there's no noise.
I didn't hear anything.
We're good. We're good.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I love it though. I mean, I have 3 siblings, and we were, all so very different today, but there is, like, especially in early childhood, there is a closeness and an intimacy that you find in moments, even when you're in moments also like beating the shit out of each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are moments where you're like, all right, we have to get through this together. And that's a beautiful thing about childhood sometimes, especially when, in my case, like, parents not so good and parents not so safe, right? Yeah, I think that's why, like, I really wanted to have you 2 on, is because, like, parenting is, part of my language. All language matters. Parenting is fucking hard, and doing it in context of, or sort of with the ethos of dismantling systems, understanding that curiosity and softness and empathy and compassion and all of these frameworks that have been built up over centuries that we are in need to be examined and sort of pushed against. That's what we're up against. That's hard. That's a hard place to be as a parent, as a child. I'm just grateful you're here and doing that work as parents, as educators, as teachers, as, Instagrammers, whatever.
We're grateful too to be doing the work. And I like that you talk about that, just the work that it is to be pushing against these institutions, to be challenging them, to be questioning them, and how being a parent, we think, is so fucking hard because we're not pushing against a higher person in the institution of our homes. We are that person. We are the boss, the CEO, the politician.
The man.
You're the quote unquote man.
Right. And so it's extra hard to be the victim and the aggressor at the same time within the home. And then to see that what we call that power and privilege played out with our kids, which is the last, thing we want to be doing is perpetuating all of the things we're fighting for outside the home within the home. And so that's the pickle that we love talking about and love linking arms with as many people as we can around, is thinking about all of this in a different way. And I love how you talk about feely humans, because I feel like kids are the original feely human, babies and kids. Like they come out as perfect feely humans, and leading with their hearts, and that's what we're working against, is saying we don't want to be parenting them away from that heart and towards another person's mind or another institution's mind. We want to keep that heart intact. It makes so much sense. We call it our
inner wisdom and authority.
Inner wisdom and authority. That is the heart, the inner knowing the self. And then the authority is being able to communicate the self or meet the needs of the self. And all of those things in conventional discipline are doing the exact opposite. They're saying no heart, no self. Let's look at others and framing that outside the person.
Often with the goal of raising an empathetic person too, which is part of the big part of the pickle.
Yeah.
So how do we, I agree. We come into this world as like what I want to be as a human, a soft, mushy, open-hearted, like curious. Let's listen. Let's explore. Like, all of this matters. How do you, I guess, start to disrupt that for kids? Like, how do we like if you're I guess, like, if you're talking to a parent now and a parent is listening, they have a newborn. What's a first step?
Right? At the beginning of our call, it's curiosity, right? it's just getting curious and remembering that we don't have to know all the things and have all the answers and do it all perfectly. It was never about that. That's a problem with the approach.
Yeah,
right?
we've been conditioned to think that our job as parents is to be civilizing our babies and kids, or be training our babies and kids, or be explicitly teaching our babies and kids about essentially society and how to conform and how to blend in and how to operate out there. So I think that first job that pops to our head is socialization. You've got to socialize, got to let them know what's right and wrong, and what's okay and what's not okay, and what's a bad choice and what's a good choice, and what's nice and what's not nice. And we think that's our primary job. And so whether those listening have an infant or a 5-year-old or a 20-year-old, I think that if we could be switching our goggles from that socialization lens as our primary responsibility to that self-awareness lens, and that continuing to help our babies, toddlers, kids look inside, keep returning the conversation back to what's happening inside. That's where the real growth happens. Like you say, too, people can't be empathetic for others unless they're empathetic for themselves. So that self-knowledge isn't selfish. It's self-centered in the most beautiful way.
Right. So that is true. And when we have influences, like there are big influences here, like 1, capitalism, 2, religion being one, right? Like these are neutral forces in the life. I mean, I would say capitalism is more of like a negative force, but that's my own personal opinion. But these are big like forces in the world. These are systems, right? That are contributing to, you know, conversations around right and wrong, right? Conversations around socialization and like, do these things to achieve worth, right? Like, how do we, like, those are like deeply ingrained.
Yeah. I mean, well, and that's such a question that it's all in the back of our minds, but like, how will they thrive? How will they fight against these systems? We have to prepare them for these systems by integrating these systems in our homes first. It's not the way it actually works. And so we like to think of our home as not this preparation school or etiquette school or whatever it is, but more of an incubator to say, can we support our kids in and nurture them in ways that through those, you know, emotional wayfaring, like you say, those conversations and those interactions, and condition them to experience a world that's not our world yet, but that could be our world tomorrow, that could be our world someday. And that usually comes up, that emotional wayfaring and all of that conditioning, right? Building those roots, those really strong roots, so that they can have that resilience in whatever world they come out into. That usually happens in the hardest moments, which you love talking about, how the hard stuff's the good stuff. We love talking about that too. And that's the work we do with parents, is saying, let's drill down to the big feelings and the challenging behaviors, because that's where all the magic is. That's where all the heart is. That's where the focus and the conditioning and the growth and healing can happen for us all, and engaging in these ways that are not control-based, that are not shame-based, that are not oppressive and manipulative and harmful ultimately.
Yeah.
You know? And again, not doing it perfectly, but doing it alongside our kids in that way, so that we can both be growing at the same time.
So, you know, I think I mean, you said it before. I think what is like, and I mentioned before we got talking, I had a conversation with Dr. Jen Mullen of Decolonizing Therapy about how we valorize as a culture, like nurses and teachers and parents even, right? But the system the system really does not treat them well, right? And I think about how we sort of put these people on pedestals, right? And we raise them up. Mothers are a good example of this. Women in particular, right, are a good example of this. And we raise them to these standards. And these standards aren't even the standards that we ascribe to. These are these societal, like, informed standards that are built on these systems that we don't even want to be a part of, right? I think about, like, so I'm not a parent of human people. I am a parent of animals. I think about my rescue dogs, right? And I take them out sometimes. And my wife and I, we do a lot of work we're doing a lot of work right now with our puppy. She's 8 months. Her name's Ripley. And she's a lot of work. She's like very confident and she's very happy-go-lucky. She was left at a vet. We rescued her like 4 months ago. We've been working with her a lot and we want to like really honor her confidence and really honor her happy-go-luckiness and not sort of like, we want to work with her, right? Like it's like a more natural, we're building a relationship, right? And of course, because I'm human, there are moments where I'm just like, talk about those moments, because those moments for you as parents, because those moments are important pieces of this puzzle, right? Whatever, if it's a puzzle or a mosaic or whatever metaphor we're talking about here.
Yeah.
I like that mosaic.
I love that your lens on your puppy is that of trust and respect and looking to those behaviors and translating them in ways that are productive. So calling your dog confident and happy-go-lucky instead of mischievous and, not listening, which I think that we do to our kids very easily too. We see these behaviors and we immediately see them as pathological, worrisome, bothersome, scary, unnecessary. And so those are all those beliefs. And like so much of the work we do is finding ways to flip those beliefs and to see the potential of looking at these little beings, whatever they are, in a way that serves them and serves us in our relationship.
Well, that would be me making it about me, right? That would be like, oh, she's doing this to me in some way, right? Like why, it's.
Well, all of those judgments would be about you and your impression or the impact on you. Yeah. And I think so much about what we talk with parents about, Kelty can talk to this better than I can, is this kind of improv act idea that we have with our kids or with our animals or with anyone in our lives. And I think the frustrations we have when we're like, God, why won't they just do what I want them to do? Or whatever it is because we think we're the only ones on stage, or because we think we're the ones who write the script and figure out the set design, and
we're the director, we're the producer, we're all the things. And then when they don't follow their lines, we're just like, no, you're off script. That's not okay.
You're supposed to sit, or you're supposed to stay. You're supposed to do whatever, not eat that shoe or whatever.
Yeah. It's hard when our little kids like virtually tear the script up right in front of us. And they're like, no, I would never say that. That's not in my character to do that. Right. And that's when the improv act can take shape, and it can be yes and it can be sharing the stage, and like you work on so beautifully, getting curious and getting empathetic for what their motivations are, what their needs are, what they're bringing to it, how to make that balance and that juggle work for everyone.
Right. And remembering who they are and what their freedoms are too. So we have a freedoms model on our website that we've kind of identified 10 freedoms that our kids have. But I would like to say that animals have those freedoms as well. They feel very universal to us, or easily interpretable. But they're freedoms like the freedom to nourish. So eating in a way that fits their bodies and feels right to them. The freedom to rest. So cleaning up or not cleaning up, or going to sleep or not going to sleep, right? The freedom to contribute, also participating or cleaning up things. What are the freedoms? To feel, obviously, right? To speak. So to say how they feel and what they want, right? All of these areas that we've been trained as parents or as owners to say, actually, I need to control all of these, and actually not quite so much freedom in these areas, because giving our kids or anybody freedom who we have power over can really easily make us feel like we're losing our own freedom or we're losing our own power. And so much about the freedoms model that we've figured out to help ourselves as much as anyone else is to help us realize that we can let go to let grow, right? And that we can reclaim a lot of our own freedom and our own joy and our own liberation in the process of honoring our kids or our animals in this way as well. Does not mean chaos. So I always want to say that too. Where's your mind going with that idea?
I wanted to ask Kelty about like a moment where you had to go off script with a kid. Again, what was that moment like? Like, what did they do and how did that feel?
Oh my gosh, it's the story of my life. No, it's like I am not in charge of what happens during the day with my children. I'm
Sure.
nowhere near in charge at all. And it's been a slow reckoning, a slow a journey of acceptance. Sometimes I feel better about it, and sometimes I feel worse about it. I love that you bring up confident and happy-go-lucky dogs. And I was just having a conversation recently with a friend about how both of my rescue dogs, Boxer Bull Mastiff mix and Pit Lab mix, were really anxious and aggressive dogs, and were incredible training for me as a parent in honoring them. Like you said, how can we honor that? Because
work with it rather than
I mean, we all have this idea of what our dog will be or who our child will be. They'll be polite, they'll be sweet, they'll be the happiest dog at the park.
They'll be the golden retriever
that comes when I call and follows right at my heel and just loves me and does everything I say. And everyone who has kids has that exact same assumption and hope and wish. And some people get that. Some people totally do. And most of us don't, to a degree at a certain point, through kids' development, through stressors, through whatever it is.
And aren't we lucky?
We are so lucky because if we're really lucky, we're able to look at those puppies, dogs, kids as, like you said, Hannah, opening up this whole world of needs, of boundaries, of trust and respect in relationship with someone else, as opposed to the world going just as we hope it will through our own personal lens and our own conditioning.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful and important. It's really a moment to decenter yourself in the experience, because you're right. Like, raising and rescuing dogs, for me, these past 15 years and being in relationship with animals, marrying into a family, my wife was like a 4-H babe. Marrying into a family with horses, like we have 2 horses. It's really, I mean, certainly horses, you have to be exceptionally mindful of your emotional state, right? Checking in on that. And then with dogs, right? I've had to really check in on my own anxious attachment to control, and like, what are you trying to control here? And a perfect example of this is like, they go out into the yard, they create little mud mallets with their paws, and they bring them back into the house. I'm like, can I control that? Can I let it go? Can I allow that to be for what it is? Because that's who they are, right? It's such a simple thing, right? And it's such a beautiful moment for me to like, can I honor who they are and allow it to be? And for me, it's like, do I need to vacuum in this moment? What does that say about my own anxious attachment to like wanting to control my environment, right? Like, it's such like, these are all like micro moments of reflecting on our inner worlds, outer worlds, combining together. Staying open to that, beautiful learning always.
Our little people and little animals are such catalysts towards, self-awareness and self-growth. And I feel like, it's such a natural thing, knowing that we're all focused in our society to look at behavior and to project basically what our needs are onto what people are doing or not doing. So it's all this invisible world of needs that we never understood as kids. So we just focus on other people's behavior in a way that can meet our own needs, right? And so that's why we control our kids. Do that, don't do that. Rather than say what you were starting to realize, what am I needing? Which is something very few people asked us when we were kids. Very few people asked us, maybe in our schools or in our church or in our jobs, what are you needing, right? All of those institutions as well are focused on what people are doing or not doing, right? Because that's how you measure productivity and that's how you make money, right? And so all of those institutions were redone in the home. And so none of the growth, none of that incubation, none of that root growing about needs and awareness happened. So then when our lives are a little out of control, right, with dogs running in and out, kids doing this and that, with things happening, we feel out of control. And so the only thing we know to do, because it was modeled for us in every institution in our world, is to control.
Or right. Like you've been working on, accept and let it go. And so much of the work that we do with folks is saying, what can we do in between those? Right.
Rather than controlling
those
dogs.
Are two, like letting everything go is a great option if you don't want to over control whatever it is, or freak out or punish or harm or any of those things. Letting it go is great. But we work on the kind of middle work. How can the dogs do their thing that they're needing to do? And me meet my need too of not having mud in the house. Can we figure out a way to get their needs met and my needs met?
It's not them versus you, which is another thing we've been conditioned to believe, that someone wins and someone loses. Someone gets their way and someone doesn't, or gets punished. And I mean, again, it's breaking these little people and animals in our lives help us just totally dismantle that belief system and say, because of the love we have for them, it shouldn't have to be either or, right? It can be, and it can be all of us. We can figure this out with a little bit of work in that prefrontal cortex.
Yep. World ain't binary.
But again, that's the work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you feel overwhelmed ever?
We do. We feel I feel overwhelmed about things that aren't my parenting so much. And probably just because I work on my parenting and in my parenting. So I feel safer and more trusting in the process. So we always say, progress over perfection. But I find myself feeling overwhelmed or anxious and wanting to do things sooner or better in other areas of my life. With my health. I have that belief sometimes, or even in my relationship with my partner, I still put a lot of those tropes and that binary thinking on our relationship. And as I'm thinking those things, and as I'm even complaining to Kelty about those things, I'm thinking in my mind.
What would you tell a parent if they were complaining about their kid this way?
Right. I know that it's there. It's all there. It just hasn't integrated quite yet and transferred over. So I'm trying to be kind with myself about it.
You get overwhelmed still.
You get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Still. Well, you do. Yeah. Kelty's kids are a little bit higher energy and higher emotion and
more resistance.
Yeah.
Just more have more of a chronic feeling day. Like we had one last week where I was just looked at Hannah and I was like, I feel so fucking unfair. Like I just am done today.
Yeah.
Like I just had hit my limit. My kids were resisting everything. One was sitting on the car and refusing to go to the park and on the roof of the car. And I'm like, it's a park. Let's just go to the park. Wanted to stay in the car, which was not an option. And that was on the way to the kids' play, which my daughter, first night of the play, refused to be part of the play. Which obviously it's like the dog park. It's like everyone's there and watching, and it brings up all this stuff, having other people watch your little person, doing their thing the way they need to do it. Yeah. It was a hard day.
It's a hard day.
Yeah.
But it's funny, I look at Kelty, who is just such a superhero to me. And I think that's what's so great about being in community with as many people as you can do who are doing this work, is that you can see each other and hold each other in those ways. I just feel like you can always do it. And it's so great. And you're so wonderful and you're doing an amazing job. And so I don't know.
Look at you too. So sweet and loving.
I'm just happy when you're like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
When I validate it.
Well, the fact is we need each other and we can't do it alone.
Oh man, you said it. You said it.
We're not individualists, right? We're not.
We've just been pushed into these little boxes and these little islands away from one another. And it's just, it is this hard, and it shouldn't be this hard. We should have more support, all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Pedestals of respect, not expectation, would be nice.
Yeah. So this may be a little uncomfortable for you, but I want to throw it your way and see what you feel and think. So I was raised by two parents who were a little problematic in some ways, right? So, raised in evangelical Christianity. I've since left that space. I don't think it's inherently bad. I think the way that it was presented to me was harmful. And the way early on that I sort of was in a relationship to my father was pretty traumatizing. So my father was pretty emotionally and then at times physically abusive. And I wonder how, I don't want to say this. This is too much. I'm going to edit this out. I was going to bring up like a story that my dad did, but it's probably too traumatizing. Too much trigger.
For everybody?
Yeah, maybe too much trigger.
Okay. Well, do you want to share it with us anyway? You can still edit it out.
Sure, I'll edit it out. I was going to say there was this moment with my father where I was like 8 or 9, where there was this stray cat. And the stray cat was like, so the way our house was growing up, there was like a downstairs and an upstairs, and the downstairs was like weirdly like partially submerged in the earth. And that's why I have terrible allergies, because we had mold issues.
Us too. That's when you said headache, I was like, mold. We're like on the mold train.
I'm on a detox right now. Yeah, but go ahead. Keep going.
Oh my gosh. But we, like my brother Tannen and I would, we like let the cat in. And my father came down the stairs and he said, take that cat out. Like he was allergic. So like, he's like, you put that cat back outside. And we're like, oh, it's a stray cat.
Mm-hmm.
So like 5 minutes later, we're kids, of course, we like let the cat back in. And we're playing with the cat, and 5 minutes later, my dad said, I told you. He like storms into the room, grabs the cat by the scruff of its neck, storms like all the way upstairs. I'm following him. He like storms across the kitchen, out onto the deck, and like football throws this cat 100 yards into the air. And I'm like witnessing this thing. The cat, like, thankfully, like, it like hits the ground and like stumbles and then like runs off. But like seeing like a grown man, he's probably in his, I guess, 30s at that point, football throw a kitten. Like that was a moment in my life where I'm like, this man can do anything to me. I am unsafe. And so for the rest of my life, it was like, I got to shut down. I got to protect myself at all costs, emotionally, physically. And there was a lot of like weird, unsafe, scary moments after that. But I wanted to like, I guess, share that with you. You being in the parenting space, like, I mean, that's an extreme example, right? But like, do you ever come across like moments where people come to you with people abusing or having moments where parents are doing harm to their kids or things of that sort?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that. That must have been so much.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was wild.
Equalizing. Yeah. And then to just like hold, those moments don't go away. They stay in our bodies,
For sure.
In our memories. And so I don't know if sharing helps you move past that, but we're always grateful to hear those things and to hold some of that for folks. And we do hear that with folks we work with from their own childhoods very often. And then moments in their current parenting that can be relatively dramatic and that can also even be somewhat innocuous, but that can trigger that really deep kind of trauma moment that they had from their childhoods. And so we have a lot of folks who come to us who are like, like what I'm seeing and what's happening doesn't seem that bad, but it feels so bad.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that a huge reason for that is that when you said in your mind that this man isn't safe, I think that what you were coming to feel was this world isn't safe. And I think that that's the power, for better or worse, that we hold within in our relationships with our kids, is that kids learn by the way we teach, right? And they don't just learn the lesson we had or the little bit of information or our intention. Kids learn by what we do in a space with them, what they see and feel and experience. And those are the deeper lessons. So they don't learn about cats, they learn about power, or they learn about going against power. They learn about how to use power, or how it feels to be in relationship with that power. And so that's something that we try, and it has been a big reckoning that a lot of folks we work with come to, and can actually create this big change in their parenting, because they realize, oh my gosh, they're learning about themselves, relationships, and the world through this parent-child blueprint. Like, this is a relational conditioning about greater beliefs than just the lasagna or the cat or the bedtime or whatever it is. They can take these instances and shape them into their worldview, essentially. You know?
I love that. I love that it's not my father sitting me down and saying, these are some lessons about life, son. It's about me being witness to how he acted, how he treated my mother, how he treated us, right? How he would rage or whatever, right? Like, it's how he acted, what I saw, what I was witness to, right?
It wasn't just the script. It was the stage direction. It was the lighting, the action, right? So much of how we learn as humans, and how little animals learn too, is not explicitly at all. You know, it's implicitly. It's not from the top down, from the brain down, which is what folks have believed for how many centuries. Who was it? Socrates convinced everybody. I can't remember now. But it's
forget about him.
But it's from forget about him.
Just another white dude.
Yeah, but it's from the body up. That's how we actually learn about things, somatically. And so that goes completely against the conventional parenting wisdom that we're supposed to just teach explicitly. We're supposed to explain. We're supposed to reason. We're supposed to use logic. We're supposed to be repetitive, and we're supposed to lecture, and then we're supposed to control and coerce, you know. So that just seems so natural to us. Even our schools and our institutions and everything are based on this top-down, mind over matter approach. And again, that loses sight of the heart, right? That loses sight of the body, that loses sight of the experience and the action and the implicit experience that we all gain, right? Think about how we all learn. I mean, how do you learn how to cook an egg? Do you really learn how to cook an egg from just reading directions or having someone tell you? You learn by doing it. You learn by overcooking it, undercooking it,
dropping it,
you know, scratching the pan, doing all the things. And kids learn that way too. And they learn so much from us. And that's why we don't have to do that much. Realizing the power can feel scary, but
can just be more than do.
Yeah.
That feels good. So speaking of feelings, I want to talk about big feelings. What is a big feeling? Like, what is a big feeling moment in one of your kids' lives?
Well, I would imagine they probably have lots of big feeling moments that we have no idea about.
Sure.
And that's something that Kelty and I knew from a very young age, because we experienced big feelings all the time and we didn't share them very often.
Yes.
And
I relate.
Yeah, to think that we would necessarily know all of our kids' big feelings is an interesting idea. Not that you necessarily assume that, but but it opens up the world of like, wow, we know so little about their experience. And again, the more we bring them on stage and make it a safe place for them to share those feelings, the more of those feelings we can hear about and support. But big feelings, oh man.
Yeah. I think that, at least for my kids, and this is why we focus so much on it at upbringing, my kids' resistance is the root of their it's not the root of their big feelings necessarily, but it's what we see. It's the sign, it's the roadmap that there's something going on there. They're feeling something. I don't know what it is. They're needing something. Don't know what it is. But saying no is one of the first ways that they're able to communicate that something exists there.
Well, that's the beauty and the challenge with kids is that they know they feel, but they don't necessarily know what they feel or why they are feeling it. And so we know all of the whats as people who have more developed brains and more experience, but we don't know that it's happening necessarily. And so much about the parent-child relationship is bringing us together to say we're kind of two sides of the same coin, or two pieces to the puzzle of they have a need or a feeling or an experience. And then we get to help them figure out what that is, why that is, and how to get that supported. And so it's a very tandem thing that we just aren't taught to look at in that way. And I think a lot of the work we do is helping parents identify what their kids' communication language is about their feelings, and to flip the beliefs that they've been conditioned to put on those judgments. So some folks we work with have kids who whine a lot and complain a lot. And that's how they just express their feelings. Just like when a baby cried, we tell these parents, it's just like when they were crying when they were a baby. They're needing something. And it just is really, really annoying to you, the way they're communicating it. But it's their communication style. So let's get on board. Another child like Kelty's will say no, 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 no. And that is their beautiful current communication language based on the skills, their environment, their experience.
Some kids ignore.
Right.
That's also having a feeling.
Right.
But I think that, like we brought up earlier, we're so conditioned to focus on all of these things as behaviors instead of a representation of a feeling or a need. Right. And so it does help parents a lot to flip that and say, what are they feeling and what are they needing? Because they weren't even seeing that. We talk about the kind of choppy waves of the behaviors. They're not listening. They're yelling. They're whining. They're running away. They're ignoring whatever they are, and putting our little goggles on and going under the waves to try to find out what that feeling is, what that need is. Because the more that we're doing that with them, the more they're able to do that for themselves, the more they're able to do that with others.
Yeah, the practice allows us to start doing that for ourselves as well, or with other people in our lives. It's one of those things that some folks who we work with have started that journey themselves, and they haven't quite pivoted it to the parent-child relationship. And other folks we work with have never considered what their needs are, or built that inner wisdom, like we talk about, and inner authority. And so it's the first time they're doing it side by side with their kids and being like, oh God, let's figure this shit out. I have no idea. You have no idea. Okay. And giving themselves grace in that process, Yeah.
So what's an example of, like, Kelty, let's say your kid is ignoring or says no. Do you say anything, or what do you say to try to, like, okay, they're feeling something, you're recognizing they're feeling something, you want to maybe encourage them to acknowledge that feeling or speak up about that feeling? What do you say?
Depends on what the situation is. So if it's a strong need that I have, that they do something or stop doing something, then I'm more likely to engage about it. Because I think I was noticing this. Sometimes people try to get my kids to name their feelings when they're feeling upset. And it's not a good time for them to be being prompted to communicate, dig deep on what's going on for them. So I think more often than not, I hold space, and I'll just physically and emotionally and just say, okay, I'm hearing that you are needing this, or you're not wanting to do this. A little more about that. Or how come, or what's going on, or what are you needing? Right. We basically run what we call the resist approach, which is a loose 6-step model, like a nonviolent communication model of respecting our kids for resisting or having feelings or refusing to do something, or just being them. It's our like reality check. Oh yes, it's another human being. Right. And we empathize. It seems like you're not wanting to. We just try not to project too much, but what I'm hearing is, or what I'm noticing is, or seeing you're not wanting to move to the car. Whatever it is.
This is safe.
This is safe. I'm honoring what I'm seeing from you first. Or it's so hard when XYZ. Sometimes that can be inflammatory. So sometimes it's less. Then we sync up. Okay, it sounds like this. Now I'm going to say, my concern is, or what I was needing is,
like, we have to get to school.
Yeah, we got to get moved to school. Or if we can't get to school by this time, you might miss the first hour of the meeting that you usually like, or reality check a little bit. I have a call that I need to be on with Nani. So just floating that out there after I've kind of talked to you about what you might be needing.
And they may know that already.
Right. So sometimes I'll just be like, because you know why I'm kind of in a hurry. Instead of restating it over and over and over, which is our tendency. And then we'll go to innovate, right? And say, what can we do? You're wanting to stay, or you're not ready to go, or whatever it is. And I'm needing to get going. What can we do? And that's the discomfort where we have to just sit in that stage of nobody knowing what to do and everyone wanting different things and needing different things or not sure what their needs are.
That's when we tend to just move right to the control approach, where we have the threats, the consequences, the shame, the physical moving, or those types of things. And so this is where it is uncomfortable to literally resist that conditioning and that urge to just get through the situation, make it feel better, right?
Yeah. It's like I want the golden goose now, Daddy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like that now. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's kind of amazing what things can come out of that.
Yeah, totally. And that's us offering ideas. Well, do you need a little bit more time? Or maybe once you finish that part, or can I give you a piggyback ride there? Or I was going to run to the kitchen and get this. Do you think you'll be done when I get back?
But honoring the obstacle, like that the obstacle is the way in that way, that's saying there's a reason why. And instead of just railroading you and pushing you into using my power and privilege against you, I want to help you understand yourself in this moment. This is a great opportunity to understand why you don't want to go and to learn why I want to go. And then to figure out how to get both of our needs met. It's an investment. We can't always take the time, but then we move into
the summarize step, where sometimes we have to set a limit, especially if it's like a physical thing, like I'm going to have to help your body off that ledge or whatever it is. It's unsafe. We've tried to work it out and we can't do it. Or we might just circle back to the beginning at that point, because I'm not going to force my kid's body into the car or drag them somewhere. They're still trying to figure this out. Sounds like this. And we just try it over and over again until we can get everyone's needs met. Sometimes that's taking a step away and coming back and then trying again. Or, in our step of the resist approach is also checking our own needs. Does this have to happen right now? Does it have to happen in this way? Does it have to happen in this place? Whatever it is. And I think just cycling back to the end of the approach is T for trust, trusting that this is okay. Competing needs can be a safe space. None of us grew up that way. Competing needs was scary. Competing needs was dangerous. Our needs were probably never put before anybody else's because we had less power and privilege. So remembering that all of these moments of competing needs, running the resist approach, failing our way through the resist approach, screaming, dragging bodies around is okay too, right? And we're going to apologize. We're going to circle back. We're going to file that away for next time, ways that we might want to show up differently, self-regulate, chill out, let go back to the drawing boards for a new plan, right?
Woof. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And what is so important about it, and it's very clear to me, is that you and the child or the kiddo, the little human, throughout the whole experience, you're learning together. You're growing and learning together. And that's never changing, and that's always happening. And what I have railed against in the past on this show is this weird societal norm. I'm sure you've bumped up against it, where we do this thing. Oh, they're kids. They don't understand, right? Well, they don't understand. They're small. You'll get it when you're older, right? Oh, it's so damaging. So I love that your approach is about, we're in this together and we're learning and growing together. It's beautiful. It's important.
Yeah. It's a fundamental respect for another human being. And if you respect human beings, then you have to take the time to meet their needs as much as your own. And I think that's why it's a very convenient thing to say is they don't understand and they need to be controlled, because that ensures that the person in power continues to get their own needs and agenda met.
Yes.
Right. And so we take that model.
Even if we justify it in terms of teaching or whatever it is. Yeah.
Right.
The parent knows better. Yeah.
Mama knows best. I want to punch people in the face who wear those t-shirts. I get really worked up about it, for sure.
Well, it's very patriarchal too. It's very, it's all wrapped up in that. Yeah.
Well, but it's in this, it's moved into this feminist, lifestyle feminist culture. So it just feels very hypocritical to us.
Yeah.
You're just adopting
they're adopting the patriarchal language, which in the parent-child dynamic, when, as they said, they're the man. So this idea of allyship, right, with our kids, allying with them teaches them how to ally with their own emotions and needs and with other people's emotions and needs. And it's new to us. It's new to them. It takes a little bit more time, but we always tell folks that it's an investment that, quote unquote, pays off, and pays off as in shoes don't always get put on, or sometimes still late to places. But our kids, again, their worldview is shaped in a way that feels really good to us and to them, right? And that's the whole goal, is that worldview that allows for you always say safety is like the crux of everything. And in that relationship of the resist approach, or working through a challenge or big feeling, we're creating safety that can allow for growth, trust, curiosity, joy, all of these other things that none of those would be able to exist if we controlled our child in that moment.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of a cool, magical thing. It's a radical act. It's it's not something we can do every day, and it's, again, not one more thing on top of your parent to-do list.
Yeah, when you were like, gosh, that's a lot. Sounds like a lot, but it's actually so much easier than controlling and dominating. And it feels so much better. I think it's like we pointed to earlier, it's just tearing up the whole script and just feeling our way through interactions instead of that top down, have to say this, then I say this, then you do and say this. It's liberating. Yeah. It liberates all of us.
It's liberating. I think that's the word. And it's what you said before, Kelty, too, which is like letting go and then finding space in between where I'm allowing for them to get their needs met and allowing for me to get my needs met.
It's scary though. It's a trust fall. It's for a lot of parents that we work with, they're like, it's like letting go. And it's just like a black void. And I'm terrified by this.
Right.
So we always suggest to start in the small moments, the ones that aren't like when you're about to miss a really important call, or when they're on that ledge, or when something else you're needing to see to a baby also, and it's just high stakes moments. Practice in those easier moments and get started with those to build up those skills and that confidence and the awareness so that those will start trickling into the tougher moments in the middle.
Love it. Love it. So what is exciting? What's next for upbringing? Like what do you have on the horizon that you're working on that's filling your hearts up?
We're working on a course and we're working on a book. Yes.
Nice. That's exciting.
When I say working, I mean, we're talking about it a lot with our business life coach.
I mean, that's working.
We're crying about it. We're walking about it. We're talking about it. We're dreaming about it.
I mean, that's all part of it. That's all part of it.
The course is like makes the most sense and will be fun and needs to happen financially, and it'll free us up a bit. But I think that our hearts are really where they were, 35 years ago when we were making little books together and scheming and dreaming and drawing and writing. That's our happy place. And I think that that's why it feels so good to engage about that. It's just blissful. It makes me feel so happy and optimistic and just at peace in those moments. Yeah. So I'm holding on to those.
That's the next thing though, just more tangible upbringing things in the world to support people.
Yeah. Course makes sense for you too. Absolutely. And would it be an evergreen thing?
I think it would be. And then it might involve a community aspect too, because we've been wanting to get a community going and not have to fight against the algorithm and support folks. And the video too, for people, we have a lot of folks we work with who have partners who just, don't read the same types of things and struggle to kind of integrate the content in the same way that they do. So
we're totally resistant to it
or completely resistant. So our hope is to make a video course that is accessible and entertaining and, bite-sized and all of the things.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool. And what in the book, what's the general idea there?
It'll be similar. I think the course is going to be a lot of the how to do that resist approach and to support all those pain points. So we have like 10 pain points, I think.
Bath time, big words, big feelings, chores resistance, siblings, conflict, all those things.
Kind of identified 10 main areas. And then the book will talk about those, but I think we'll flip all of those 10 pain points to the freedoms, the 10 freedoms that actually those pain points are within. And that's why there's such opportunities to lean into in a certain way that feels right. So
Hannah wants it to have a secret garden theme.
I do.
Love the secret garden.
Yeah. We've been listening to it on our walks.
There's magic in me.
Yep. There's magic in me. Yeah. I'm like thinking in a Yorkshire accent, like half the day now. It's been very interesting. Yeah.
Jessica and I had, I mean, if you couldn't tell we have books everywhere, but we had a book themed wedding. We actually met 15 years ago on Goodreads, if you can believe it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
On a dating site.
I know. That's right. I know. She actually teaches writing and she's a community college English professor. So real book nerds up in here.
I love that. I've been like trying to ogle. Is that a Philip Pullman back there?
There's a couple Philip Pullmans. Yeah. Some Philip Pullman. Yeah. I actually wrote, I'll send it to you just, if you're curious to look at it. I'm in the process of trying to get it published, but I wrote a picture book about feelings, kids' feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. It's basically a picture book about big feelings.
Wow.
That's exciting.
Your Dear Childhood Me was just incredible. And I was on their shop recently and didn't see it there. So I was wondering did it just sell out or was it?
I did like a pre-order thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And because it's hard doing this thing by yourself.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like when I first started Feely Human, I guess it was 2 years ago. I had a partner, like right around the time I launched. I had this partner who I brought on board, a friend, and she sort of dropped out. Mutual, sort of all good. She just like, this is too much. I have to focus on my own freelance stuff. And it's a lot to run a business. You all know that.
We struggle with both of us. Just having two of us is still incredibly hard because we're too similar, I think. It's tricky. It's a blessing and a curse. Yeah. Well, we would love to support that. I mean, that's just a little reparenting journal, essentially.
Yeah. So I did a pre-order period. I picked up all of the journals. I sold about 150 of them, which I feel good about. Unfortunately, the pocket versions, 90% of them were misprinted.
Oh, no.
Just slightly off. But thankfully, Denick, I think they're going to reprint them. So I have like 60 pocket versions that I could either give away or, use as giveaways or whatever.
I mean, a lot of us are slightly off and would probably benefit from those journals too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Exciting. And what else is new for you? I feel like you said podcast is changing up a little bit maybe and transitioning.
Yeah, so I was doing it weekly for 4+ years and recently transitioned to twice a month, which has been honoring of my time and energy. It's felt better. We recently started an Airbnb. We have a little space above our garage, and that's been a lot of fun. We renovated it last year. It's Studio Ghibli themed.
What's that?
Do you know Studio Ghibli? Oh my goodness. As parents, I mean, maybe you don't show your kids film, but Studio Ghibli is like the Pixar of Japan. And especially Hayao Miyazaki is a Japanese filmmaker. Yeah. So My Neighbor Totoro, all of his films are essentially about, I mean, they're right up your alley because it's about dealing with the tension between environment and industry. But I'm a huge Miyazaki nerd, and so the whole upstairs is themed in those. And our propane tank, we're on propane here, is the Totoro.
Oh my gosh, painted. No, I'm totally unaware of the studio.
Yeah, that's what I had not heard.
Yeah, but Miyazaki, amazing. I just got my husband the new coffee table book of his.
Oh, yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I'll send you the Airbnb link if you're curious to look at.
We will just have to come and stay. Would it fit two very tall people?
Absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. How tall are you?
Like 6'2".
Okay.
Probably shrank after a little bit. I feel like we're like around 6 feet.
Okay. Yeah, it'll fit you because I'm 6 feet. It's it was built in 30s. It's low, but it fits me. I'm 6 foot.
Cozy.
And it's cozy. It's cozy. But yeah, things are good. Things are good. I'm, making things work. But let's talk about empathy heroes. This is the part of the show where we wrap up, mention someone in our lives as an empathy hero. Could be a character from a story, aka, The Secret Garden. Could be someone we know in real life. I will go first. My empathy hero this week is the aforementioned Dr. Jen Mullen. Dr. Jen is on Instagram at Decolonizing Therapy. She is doing just tremendous work in the world of being curious about the systems of the mental health space and sort of dismantling this idea around like that therapists have to be these like worker bees, really. And just a beautiful human that I recently recorded with on the pod and just loved the conversation, just nourished my soul. And I really am grateful for her and that new connection. So if you all aren't following Dr. Jen on Instagram, she's at Decolonizing Therapy. Go give her a follow. She is my empathy hero this week. How about you two? Empathy heroes.
Oh, I think if we're heading toward kind of like a literary angle, that got me started. But Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables is like my hero in so many ways.
Good
she's
one.
An OG spirited child. And she's so empathetic for someone who feels so fiercely. She's so soft and understanding to the plight of other people and what might be happening with them. And I feel like her imagination obviously is her superpower in that way. She can imagine anybody could act anyway because it will take her on an adventure, even, tiptoeing into what's going on for them. And that she not necessarily wants to win everyone over with that, but I think it lends, like that sense of empathy lends itself to making unlikely friends and relationships and connections.
Personal and collective growth.
Yeah, I've always admired that about her.
Yeah, that's a great one.
But
I love it.
I recommend rereading the book.
Yeah, I need to reread that. That's a good one. I remember loving the original series from the, what is it? Late 80s, 90s, maybe early 90s.
The Sullivan production.
Yeah.
So good.
The Canadian one.
The what?
Was it Canadian?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, good one. Anyways, how about you, Hannah?
Oh my gosh, so many people I'm inspired by and would want to list. I'm thinking, like you mentioned earlier, how you were talking about the pedestal for mothers and for women. And so I was thinking Angela Garbes, who just wrote Essential Labor. And I think it's Angela Garbes. That's her Instagram handle. But I don't know. So many people are coming to mind. I don't know. I've been following Lisa Oliveira on Instagram recently, and she's a new mother. And so seeing, just reading a little, and I read her Substack as well, and just reading her experience and her questions and the incredible amount of grace and she's giving herself and the vulnerability she's expressing in this like new time where, we're just unfollowing people constantly who are just portraying this new motherhood as just so unrealistically perfect and amazing. And so I'm just the words that she shares with folks. They impact me, and I have an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old. And so they've been helping kind of me heal from the past to the future, back to the future, I guess you could say. And I've been appreciating her work a lot, inspired by her.
So funny you mentioned Lisa. Lisa's been on the show, and Dr. Jen mentioned Lisa as her empathy hero just yesterday. That's so funny.
Oh, nice crowned.
Yeah. Well worth it. So Hannah, Kelty, where can the Feely humans out there connect with you two?
Yeah, you can find us at upbringing.co. That's our website. We've got a little shop. We're still doing small group coaching and private coaching through there. And we've got the podcast, which is a little bit on pause right now, the Upbringing podcast. And then you can find us on Instagram by the same handle at upbringing.co.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, it was a delight to connect with you both. Thank you for being a part of You Me Empathy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Noe.
You're very welcome. And to you listeners, as I always say, I'm here, you're here, we're here together on this wayward, overwhelming, awe-inspiring pale blue dot. We have each other. It's You Me Empathy.